Hello everybody in YouTube land, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I think we're going to talk about soul food. Well, really food in general. Just one moment please. Now, I don't know about you, but I pretty much grew up in the kitchen with my mom, learning how to cook. And I enjoy being in the kitchen. Hell, some of my best memories of childhood came from being in the kitchen helping my mom prepare dinner for my family, or for family gatherings or what have you. Everything from hams to pasta dishes to your classic burgers, meatloafs, your usual suspects. A lot of people say the way to somebody's heart is through their mind. They're only about half right there. The way to somebody's heart is through their mind and their stomach. You feed them good food, especially food they know and they grew up with, you're definitely going to win over the hearts and minds of the people you're trying to impress, especially if you do it right. Now, for me for instance, it's classics: chicken fried steak, mashed potatoes, and green beans. But not just everybody knows how to make a chicken fried steak properly. Now, unfortunately, it is 3 o'clock in the morning, so I can't exactly do a cooking video for you, but I can give you the basic breakdown. There are two ways of going about it: the right way and the wrong way. Now, the wrong way is to buy frozen ones, or slash not do the damn batter correctly. That is one of my biggest pet peeves. Now, the right way to do it is, number one, buy your meat as fresh as possible. You want something that is already tenderized, so something that it'll say something like gravy steaks or something like that. But if you really want the full from scratch build, get yourself some flank steaks and a meat tenderizer. And you can't be afraid to get a little messy. Now, once you have your flank steaks or what have you pounded out till they're about yay big, about that thick, your meat is prepared. Leave it the hell alone. Do not stick it in the fridge. Just let it sit at room temp. If you're going to be cooking right away. Now, if you're going to be cooking in 3, 4, 5 hours, stick that shit in the fridge quickly. Do not let it sit out on the counter uncovered. You're just asking for problems. Now, the next step is the batter. It's not overly complicated. What you're going to need is 2 bowls. One for your dry and one for your wet. In your dry bowl, pour a healthy amount. It varies the amount, but a good amount of all-purpose flour. Doesn't matter if you use wheat flour or whatever suits your fancy. I just use all-purpose flour. Next up, you're going to need some salt, some pepper, parsley, and the secret ingredient. This is the best way to get your chicken fried steak crunchy, because you want a decent crunch on it. Now, you don't want to break a freaking tooth on it eating it. And you damn sure don't want it soggy. Take take cornflakes, and I'm not talking Tony the Tiger cornflakes. I'm talking cheap, non-sweetened, regular, plain old cornflakes. Put them in a Ziploc bag and crush the crap out of them. Not until they're a powder, but until they're crushed up fine. Where you still see little chunks, yet it's a pretty uniform consistency. Okie dokie. Next step, you're going to want to do your wet ingredients. Now, the wet ingredients are easy as 1, 2, 3. It is literally eggs and milk. It is not rocket science. What you do is you crack 4 or 5 good eggs, large eggs in there, and you add your milk and you whisk it well. Get everything incorporated correctly. Apologize for my sleeve putting out my smoke. Alright, now to the battering process. Again, it is not rocket science. You're going to want to have your grease on standby, because you do not bake a chicken fried steak. It is in the name. It is fried. Now, you can either use a skillet, or if you have it, I would suggest it, a deep fryer. Now, you can get a deep fryer at Walmart for less than $50. But I understand a lot of people are out there on a budget, so either way, it works. If you really want to get traditional with it, use a cast iron skillet. A well-seasoned cast iron skillet. And have your grease in there. You want to have about that much grease. Enough to cover, when you put them in there, enough to completely submerge them, but not enough where you're drowning the damn things. Okay? Now, back to the battering process. First things first. Dry first. You coat both sides in the dry. Then you go to your wet. And you put it in there in the wet and make sure both sides get coated evenly. Then you take it and you put it back in the dry. This ensures you will get a nice, crisp, and delicious batter. And then just repeat the process for how many ever you're going to do. Now, do not go crazy and crowd your frying implement. If your pan only looks like it can do 2 or 3 at a time, do 2 or 3 at a time. Do not stick 4 or 5 in your pan when it can only really fit 2 or 3. You're again asking for trouble. Now, just let them, keep an eye on them. Flip them periodically. Once they get nice and golden brown, take them out and then put them in between paper towels. This ensures that they are not greasy as hell. The paper towels absorb the excess grease. Yeah, it's not rocket science, people. It's common sense. Next step is your mashed potatoes. Now, again, just like with making the chicken fried steak itself, there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. Now, I can understand being under a time crunch and really kind of want to be lazy, but do not use instant mashed potatoes. They're grainy and they're crappy. Nobody likes them. The person that does like them is weird, or just has never had good mashed potatoes in their life. No, what you do is you take some nice big Idaho potatoes, or your potato of choice. Doesn't really matter what kind of potatoes you use. I just usually use Idahos. And before somebody makes a joke there, just stop. Just no, stop. Okay? Thank you. Peel them. If you want to leave a little bit of the skin in there, that's perfectly fine. I personally like doing that because the skin has a lot of vitamins and nutrients in it. Just don't leave humongous chunks. Like a little patch here and there, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. But before you start peeling these things, rinse them off thoroughly. Make sure you get all that grime and the dirt and shit off. And if you're new to cooking, do not try to peel a potato with a knife, especially if you're as uncoordinated and half-ass paying attention as I am. I have cut myself more than once practicing. I have gotten to the point where I can do it with a knife. Now, if you're new to doing this, get a vegetable peeler. They're not expensive. Few bucks. Get one. It'll save your life. It won't save your life, but it'll save your fingers a lot of pain and a lot of band-aids. Yeah. Then stick them in a large pot of water. Well, before then, cut them up into squares, or just chunks about yay big, about an inch by an inch, give or take. Then stick them in a pot of boiling water. Every once in a while, check on them. Grab a fork or what have you and pull a piece of potato out, and just pop it in your mouth. If it's still crunchy, it's not done. Now, if it's soft, they're done. So pull them off quick. Strain them out in a colander, get rid of all the water. Then take said potatoes and dump them back into the pot. And then just go to town with whatever mashing implement you have. Whether you have an actual potato masher or you're using a fork or what have you. Just go about it. There's no real wrong way to smash mashed potatoes. Make sure you add a little bit of pepper and a little bit of salt. And a little bit of butter never hurts. Now, your green beans you can do however the hell you want. You want to do fresh, you can do fresh. You want to do canned, you can do canned. There's no real wrong way to do it. How I usually do it is I get 2 or 3 cans of canned green beans, good sized cans, and I take bacon fat and I dump it in a bowl, like 2 good tablespoons, 2 healthy tablespoons of bacon fat, and I dump it in the bowl with the green beans. Make sure you drain off at least 2 of the cans. If you're going to do 3 cans, drain off 2, keep 1. At least half of one at minimum. This is where you're going to keep a lot of your green bean flavor and your bacon fat flavor. It's going to be yummy. So toss that in there. And then nuke it. I know it's cheating. I don't care. Nuke it for a few minutes. This should be the last thing you do, because it is the quickest thing to get done. Now, the gravy, I'm not really a stickler for making it myself. Me personally, I think it's a pain in the ass, but some people prefer homemade gravy. Now, with a chicken fried steak, you cannot get away with using brown gravy. Use cream gravy. You can buy the pre-made packets, basically they're little packets like Kool-Aid. You just add whatever ingredients they say to add. I think it's usually like a cup of milk or a cup of water or something like that for one packet, and then pour it in a pot. Stir it around till it thickens. Call it done. Plate and serve. This is how my mom was taught. This is how I was taught. This is what I consider to be the right way to go about it. You can all experiment. Do what you're going to do. I say, what's life without a little risk? If it's not good, oh well. If it tastes like, well, crap, you experimented and you know, okay, this doesn't work now. I know this doesn't work. So maybe next time I'll try something else. Well, anyway, guys, peace out. This is Wolf. This has been your friendly neighborhood wolf, signing off.